Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know I just made a video about this team earlier today, but they made some moves today that I want to talk about because I find them to be very interesting, and they kind of go against what I thought that they were going to do. It's the Utah Jazz, but before we get into it too much, I want to remind you to leave a like and subscribe. I've been appreciating all the support I've gotten lately, and I hope to see that continue. Remember, it helps you out because you get all the extra content, and it helps me out because I like to get the support. So leave a like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. In case you don't know, they added Jordan Clarkson on a 3-year, $52 million contract, so $14 million annually, and they also paid Derrick Favors a 3-year, $27 million contract out of their mid-level exception, which is pretty much the entire mid-level. So Clarkson is a guy I think they absolutely needed to get back. They played better when he was on the court than they did when he was off of it. They were a much better team with him when he played well. I believe there was some kind of statistic out there that like when Jordan Clarkson scored 15 points or more in a game, the Jazz won like 85% of their games. So he's very important to their team, and when he's playing well, their team plays well. On the offensive end, he is just super, super valuable as a guy who's an excellent shot maker, can hit three-pointers off the dribble, plays well on the ball, and can also play off the ball as a spot-up shooter. On the ball, he can attack the rim, and sometimes it's a little frustrating because it seems like he's taking shots that you'd rather go to somebody else, but in the end, he actually shoots the ball pretty efficiently. He's a gunner off the bench. He can give you a 15-point night, and occasionally he can give you a 25-point night. And that's really, really valuable for a team. And I think the Jazz got him right around where his value was, giving him $14 million annually. I think that's a pretty solid deal for the team, and they should be pretty excited about bringing him back. I definitely think it was the right move. He's going to be the sixth man coming off the bench, playing plenty of minutes on the wing. On the defensive end, he's definitely a little lackluster, and you'd hope to see some improvement from him in this coming season, but he's also not absolutely awful. He's not unplayable. We saw him get a lot of minutes against that Denver team in the first round of the playoffs this year, and a lot of the time he made good on those minutes. We actually saw him close a few games, and he was very important to this team in keeping the offense flowing. So, really good signing for them. I'm happy that they brought him back, and it's more the other one that's interesting to me. They also signed Derrick Favors. Wait, actually, I kind of want to put on my Donovan Mitchell jersey for this video, so 1 second. And boom, there we go. Rocking the Jazz jersey. Donovan Mitchell is probably my favorite player in the league, so yeah, I'm pretty biased towards him. Back to Derrick Favors. I don't like this deal. I think that there were bigger needs for this team that they should have addressed. And signing Derrick Favors to this kind of deal when he can't really play alongside Rudy Gobert at the four. I mean, he can, but I don't think that it's a look you want to run out in the playoffs. Neither of them can really shoot from the perimeter, so you're really hurting your floor spacing if you're going to have them out on the court at the same time. And Rudy Gobert in the playoffs this past season, he was playing big, big minutes. He probably played between 35 and 40 minutes in every single one of the 7 playoff games the Jazz participated in. Derrick Favors is going to make those 8 to 13 minutes when Rudy is off the court much better for the Jazz, and they really struggled defensively when Gobert was out of the game. But is it worth paying your whole mid-level for a guy that's never going to play more than 8 to 13 minutes in a playoff game? I don't think so. I'm a big Derrick Favors fan. I think that what he does on the defensive end of the court is super valuable, and I thought that he could have filled an excellent role as a stopgap center for a team out there, but I don't think that the Jazz are the right team there just because they have Rudy Gobert already as a franchise centerpiece at the center position, and I think that this money could have been much better allocated somewhere else. Favors is going to shore up the defense on the second team, and that is important because the second team consists of like Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, and George Niang. And Niang, Ingles, they both play hard on defense. Clarkson gives good effort on defense, but none of those guys are particularly gifted with athleticism. And Favors is an excellent rim protector, so he is going to make that defense on the second team a bit better. But I just don't think that there's enough value here to warrant giving him the full mid-level. I would have rather seen them sign a player like Justin Holiday who can help them on the wing as a wing defender. I would have liked to see a Kendrick Nunn who can give you some minutes at the backup point guard or shooting guard position while also being a lockdown defender at the point of attack. I even would have been interested in someone like Jay Crowder who can give you good minutes at the 4 position, play good defense, strong defense, and hopefully shoot the ball better than he usually does from the 3-point line because he's super inconsistent from the long ball. I am a believer in George Niang, and I think that he's a good player. He makes the right defensive rotations. He's smart with the ball. He's actually a pretty good passer when he has opportunities to play make, and he's a knockdown 3-point shooter, but I also don't know that he is a playoff type guy at this point in his career. I think that he's still got some room to grow. He's got to become a bit thinner so that he can guard on the perimeter a bit better. He's a smart player, and I love those heady players that make the right decisions, but I do think that Crowder would be a significant upgrade off the bench at the 4 spot. So there's 3 guys right there off the top of my head I listed that I would have rather signed if I were the Jazz than Derrick Favors. I get that they have the connection. Favors was a guy who played for the Jazz a couple years back. They just traded him last offseason to create room for the Bogdan Bogdanovic signing and the Mike Conley trade, but I don't love bringing him back. I think that there were better options for this team. Overall, they did add some really key pieces to their second unit, though. Like I said before, a second unit with probably Joe Ingles running a lot of the ball handling jobs and being the primary playmaker on the court. You have Jordan Clarkson as a guy who can give you points in bunches, George Niang as a floor spacer who plays competent defense, and Derrick Favors, who's a good rim protector and a solid rim runner who has already developed really good chemistry in the pick and roll with Joe Ingles. That's a good second team, a good bench unit. I think that they could have done better, but in the end, that's going to help you compete. They are much deeper, improve the depth with the Favors signing. He's a better backup center than someone like Tony Bradley was or Ed Davis was. But this also does kind of render the Udoka Azubuike pick obsolete. I don't understand why you would draft a center if it was in your short-term plans to give your full mid-level to a center that essentially plays the same role as a rim runner who is a rim protector on the defensive end. So really, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I love the Clarkson signing. I don't love the Favors signing, although it does get me thinking. Like I said, Derrick Favors is a good stopgap at center. The only way that the Jazz would need a stopgap at center is if they moved on from Rudy Gobert. I don't think that it's the most likely scenario because I believe that the Jazz have a chance to be a championship contender as currently assembled with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert as their stars, but it's at least tempting if you are Utah and the right offer comes along for Rudy Gobert that you think can help you to build around Donovan Mitchell and have a more bright outlook for the future to win a championship during Donovan Mitchell's next contract, then I think you probably have to pull the trigger on that. The reason why a lot of the Rudy Gobert trades hypothetically did not really work was because who's playing the center position for you? Well, now they've added a guy that can play the backup center position well. And they also have a rookie at the center position that they're going to like to develop. So I don't think that a Rudy Gobert trade is as far-fetched of a proposition as it would have been prior to this Derrick Favors signing.